What if the path to inner stillness was hidden not on a mountaintop, but inside a tiny common spice? What if a simple 7-day practice could fundamentally change your relationship with your body and mind? The final discovery we reach together is the real reason you are here. Stay until the end to understand it. Internal alchemy. We begin not with an action, but with a question. Why have you come here to explore this? The title suggests a secret, a quick result, a shocking truth. The modern mind is drawn to this. It seeks efficiency, a shortcut to well-being. It sees a clove of garlic not as a plant, a piece of nature, but as a potential pill, a supplement to be consumed for a desired outcome. This is the first obstacle we must overcome. The purpose of this small experiment is not to discover a magic cure. The purpose is to practice. It is to take something small, something mundane, and through our intention, transform it into a vehicle for awareness. The transformation does not happen to the body alone. It happens in the mind that is observing the body. So before you even begin, the first step is to set your intention. Are you doing this to fix something you perceive as broken? Or are you doing this to learn, to observe, to understand the landscape of your own inner world? These are two very different paths. One is rooted in dissatisfaction, the other in curiosity. We will choose the path of curiosity. The true alchemy is not the chemical reaction in your stomach, but the turning of a mundane act into a profound ritual. It is taking the lead of daily routine and transforming it into the gold of mindful presence. This is the foundation upon which everything else will be built. You see, our lives are filled with consumption. We consume food, we consume information, we consume entertainment. And most of it is done without thought, without presence. It is a form of automatic movement, driven by habit and desire. To deliberately choose to eat something so potent, so strong, every day for 7 days is a direct challenge to this automaticity. It is a conscious choice to introduce a moment of intense sensation into the otherwise smooth and predictable flow of your day. It is a disruption. And in this disruption, there is an opportunity to wake up. We are not just adding an ingredient to our diet, we are adding a question to our day. The question is, am I present right now? The clove will make it very difficult to be anywhere else. Its sharp, pungent nature forces your entire sensory apparatus to pay attention. You cannot scroll through your phone while mindfully consuming a raw clove. You cannot be lost in a daydream about tomorrow's meeting. The sensation is all-encompassing. It brings you directly, immediately, into the present moment. This is a form of training. Just as we lift weights to train a muscle, we can use a strong sensory input to train our attention. We are teaching ourselves, in a very physical way, what it feels like to be fully here. This practice is the gateway. The truth the title promises is not a fact you can learn, but an experience you must have. And it begins with this simple, humble, and very powerful intention to be present. So, let us reframe the next 7 days. It is not a challenge of endurance. It is an exploration of attention. It is not about what the clove does to you, but about what you learn by observing it. The mindset is everything. If you approach this as a chore, a medicine you must swallow, then the lessons will be lost. You will only experience the discomfort and wait for it to be over. But if you can approach it with the spirit of gentle inquiry, with the mindset of a scientist exploring a new phenomenon, then everything changes. You are not the victim of the sensation. You are the observer of it. You become interested in the way the heat spreads, the way your saliva responds, the way the taste lingers. You notice the mind's reaction, the urge to resist, the desire for it to end, the storytelling of, I don't like this. And in noticing these reactions without judgment, you create a space between the stimulus and your response. This space is freedom. This space is where true practice lives. It is in this small gap, created by the intense flavor of a simple clove, that you begin to understand the very mechanism of your own mind. You see how it reacts, how it labels, how it struggles, and by seeing it, you are no longer completely controlled by it. The clove becomes your teacher, and the classroom is your own awareness. The commitment to a 7-day period is also significant. A single day is an event. 2 days is a coincidence, but 7 days, 7 days is the beginning of a pattern. It is the first step in forging a new neural pathway. It is a declaration to yourself that you are capable of consistent, disciplined action, even when it is uncomfortable. The world constantly pushes us towards comfort, towards ease, towards the path of least resistance. To consciously choose a path of minor, manageable discomfort is an act of inner strength. It builds a subtle resilience that will begin to permeate other areas of your life. When a difficult situation arises at work, you may find you have a little more space to respond rather than react. When an uncomfortable emotion surfaces, you may find you have a little more capacity to sit with it, to observe it without being swept away. Why? Because you have been training. You have been teaching your nervous system through the simple act of eating a clove that discomfort is not a threat. It is simply a strong sensation. It arises, it persists for a time, and it passes. Understanding this on a deep physical level is transformative. It is one of the most fundamental lessons of existence taught to you by a humble piece of garlic. This is why the ritual is so important. It is a microcosm of life itself, facing challenges, being present with them, and watching them pass. Every single day you get to practice this profound wisdom. This is the alchemy we seek. It is practical, it is accessible, and it is available to you right now. The journey is not about becoming superhuman. It is about becoming fully, consciously human. Physical vessel. The body is the temple. It is the house in which we live. This is not just poetry. It is a practical reality. If the foundation of a house is weak, if the walls are crumbling, then the activities we conduct inside will be compromised. Our capacity for clear thought, for emotional balance, for spiritual inquiry is all deeply connected to the state of our physical vessel. We cannot separate the mind from the body. They are two sides of the same coin. So, when we embark on a practice like this, we must first acknowledge the physical dimension. Modern science has explored the properties of garlic, of cloves. They speak of antioxidants, of anti-inflammatory compounds, of compounds that can support the immune system. This is useful information. It helps us to understand the tool we are working with on a material level. It is good to have a vessel that is clean and functions well. Just as you would want to use a clean brush to paint a masterpiece, you want a healthy body to live a vibrant life. Acknowledging these potential benefits is a sign of respect for the physical form. We are choosing to ingest something that is generally understood to be supportive of the body's natural processes of cleansing and protection. This is a good first step. It is an act of care. However, we must be very careful not to get stuck at this level of understanding. To focus only on the measurable, physical benefits is to miss the entire point. It is to stay on the surface, to admire the paint on the door without ever opening it to see what lies inside. The physical benefits are the foundation, but they are not the building. The true value of this practice lies in what it teaches us about the connection between our body and our mind. When you eat the clove, notice what happens. There is a physiological reaction, a heat in the mouth and throat, perhaps a warming sensation that spreads to the stomach. Your body is communicating with you. It is sending you a clear, unambiguous signal. For many of us, we have learned to ignore the subtle signals our body sends us throughout the day. We ignore thirst, we ignore fatigue, we ignore the tension in our shoulders. We have become numb to the language of our own physical form. This practice is a way to reverse that. The signal from the clove is not subtle. It is loud. It cannot be ignored. It is a training partner that forces you to listen, to be present with the raw, unfiltered sensations of your own body. This resensitization is one of the most important outcomes. Over the 7 days, you begin to create a new relationship with your physical self. You move from a state of neglect or even conflict to a state of communication and partnership. You start to understand that the body is not just a machine to be fueled and driven, but a living, breathing, intelligent system with its own wisdom. The act of consciously ingesting something potent is an act of trust. You trust that your body can handle the intensity. You trust its processes. And as you observe the sensations day after day, you begin to notice the subtle differences. Perhaps on one day the sensation is sharper and you reflect on the other things you ate or the quality of your sleep. Perhaps on another day it feels less intense and you notice a sense of calm that you carried throughout the day. You start to see the connections. You realize that your inner state is reflected in your physical experience, and your physical experience influences your inner state. They are in a constant dance. This is not a concept you are reading in a book. You are feeling it, experiencing it, living it in your own body. This is embodied wisdom, and it is far more powerful than intellectual knowledge. This is why the experience is more important than the information. You can read 100 articles about the benefits of garlic, but that knowledge will not create this new relationship. It is the direct, unmediated experience that changes you. The physical body becomes your guide, your teacher. It anchors you in the present moment in a way that thoughts cannot. Your mind can wander to the past or the future, but a strong physical sensation is always happening now. It is a lifeline back to the present moment, a way to cut through the noise of mental chatter. We are not aiming for a specific physical result, like lower blood pressure or a stronger immune system, although those things may happen as a side effect. We are aiming for a change in consciousness. The goal is to inhabit our bodies so fully, to be so intimately aware of our physical vessel that we are no longer living in our heads. We are living as integrated whole beings. This practice, this simple act with a clove, is a doorway into that integrated state. It is a way of saying to your body, I am here with you, I am listening, I am paying attention. And over time, the body begins to trust that you are listening, and it begins to share more of its wisdom with you. The dialogue becomes richer, more subtle, and more profound. Sensory gate. Consider how much of your day is lived through a filter. We experience the world not directly, but through a constant stream of thoughts, judgments, and labels. We see a tree and our mind says tree, and the direct experience is over. We taste food and our mind says, I like this or I don't like this, and the pure sensation is immediately clouded by preference. We live in a world of concepts, not a world of raw experience. This practice is a direct assault on that conceptual reality. When you place a piece of raw garlic in your mouth, the experience is so immediate and so powerful that it overwhelms the mind's ability to label it. For a few moments, you are thrust out of your thoughts and into a pure, direct sensory reality. It is a shock to the system, a system that is accustomed to living in a muted second-hand world. This is the sensory gate. It is a portal that opens directly into the present moment. For many, this level of raw sensation is uncomfortable. The immediate instinct is to recoil, to spit it out, to neutralize it with water. This is the mind's habit, to avoid anything that is too intense, too real. But the practice is to stay, to remain present, to willingly walk through the sensory gate and explore what is on the other side. What is on the other side is simply reality, unvarnished. It is not good or bad. It is just an intense sensation of heat, pungency, and sharpness. The labels of good and bad are added later by the mind. The practice is to observe the sensation before the label is applied. This requires a certain kind of courage, the courage to feel fully. Over the 7 days, you are training this courage. Each day, you willingly open the gate and step through. At first, it is a shock. Your entire being resists. But by the 3rd or 4th day, something shifts. You begin to anticipate the sensation. You know what is coming. The mind's fear and resistance begin to lessen because it has learned from experience that the sensation is temporary. It will arise, it will peak, and it will fade. And in learning this, the mind begins to relax its grip. It starts to trust the process. You are no longer fighting the sensation. You are allowing it. You are creating a space for it to exist. And this is a monumental shift. This practice of allowing extends far beyond the few moments you are eating the clove. It is a fundamental training for life. Life will inevitably present you with intense situations, with emotional pain, with physical discomfort. Our conditioned response is to resist, to push it away, to numb ourselves. We do this through distraction, through addiction, through endless activity. We are terrified of feeling the raw energy of our own emotions and sensations. This practice teaches you a different way. It teaches you how to stay, how to be with intensity without being destroyed by it. The clove is a safe and manageable training ground for this skill. It is intense, but it is not harmful. It allows you to practice the art of surrender, of non-resistance, in a controlled environment. You learn that your capacity to feel is far greater than you imagined. You discover a strength in your ability to be present with discomfort, and this strength is a form of deep self-trust. You learn that you do not need to run away from your own experience. You can meet it, you can hold it in your awareness, and you can watch it transform. This is also a purification of the senses. Our modern world is an environment of overstimulation. Bright screens, loud noises, processed foods with artificial flavors. Our senses have become dull. We need more and more intense stimuli just to feel anything. This practice is like a reset button. The strong, natural, and complex flavor of the garlic cleanses the palate. It awakens taste buds that have been dormant. You might find that after a few days of this practice, other foods begin to taste different. An apple might taste sweeter. A simple bowl of rice might reveal a subtle, nutty flavor you never noticed before. By introducing a moment of extreme sensory clarity, you recalibrate your entire sensory system. You start to taste more, smell more, and feel more. You become more sensitive, but not in a weak or fragile way. You become more sensitive in an aware and appreciative way. You start to find joy and richness in simple things because you have the sensory capacity to perceive them fully. The sensory gate, which at first seems like an aggressive shock, becomes a doorway to a richer, more vibrant, and more present way of experiencing your entire life. It teaches you that the greatest wonders are not outside of you, but in your own capacity to perceive the world directly. Inner discipline. At the heart of any meaningful practice is the element of discipline. But we must be very careful with this word. For many, discipline has connotations of harshness, of self-punishment, of forcing oneself to do something one hates. This is a misunderstanding of what true discipline is. True discipline is not an act of self-violence. It is an act of self-love. It is the conscious and deliberate choice to align your actions with your deepest intentions, even when it is difficult. It is choosing the person you want to become over the fleeting comfort of the moment. This 7-day practice is an exercise in this higher form of discipline. There will be days when you do not want to do it. Your mind will create 1,000 excellent reasons to skip it. I'm too busy this morning. It's too unpleasant. What's the point anyway? I'll just start again tomorrow. This inner voice of resistance is the primary obstacle to all growth. Learning to recognize this voice, to hear it without being commanded by it, is the very essence of cultivating inner strength. Each time you choose to proceed with the practice, despite the resistance, you are casting a vote for your own highest self. You are strengthening a different inner muscle, the muscle of commitment, of integrity, of willpower. This has very little to do with the garlic itself. The garlic is merely the object, the 10-pound weight in this inner gym. You could achieve a similar result using a different practice, like a 2-minute cold shower or a 5-minute silent meditation. The tool is not as important as the consistency of its application. What you are building is a pattern of reliability with yourself. You are teaching yourself at a very deep level that when you decide to do something, you do it. This creates a foundation of self-trust that is unshakable. When you know you can rely on yourself to follow through on small commitments, you develop the confidence to take on larger ones. The ability to build a better life, to change a habit, to pursue a long-term goal is all predicated on this fundamental capacity for consistent action. This is where it starts. It starts with 2 cloves of garlic and a promise you make to yourself each morning. Consider the metaphor of fire. The pungent heat of the clove is like a small spark. On the first day, it is just a spark. But on the second day, when you add another spark, the embers glow a little brighter. By the 7th day, through consistent daily application, you are not just creating a spark. You are tending to an inner fire. This is the fire of your willpower, your life force, your ki. It is the energy that drives you. Our modern, comfort-seeking lifestyle often dampens this fire. We live in temperature-controlled rooms. We eat soft, easy-to-digest foods. We seek to avoid all forms of struggle. In doing so, our inner fire grows weak. We feel lethargic, unmotivated, and passive. To consciously introduce a fiery element like garlic into your daily routine is a way to rekindle that inner flame. It is a way of saying to your subconscious mind, wake up, be strong, be vital. It is a symbolic act that has a real energetic and psychological effect. You are deliberately stoking the fire of your own aliveness. This inner discipline is not about being rigid or perfect. It is about returning. There may be a day you forget. The practice is not to berate yourself. The practice is to simply begin again the next day. The strength is not in never falling. It is in getting up every single time. This cultivates a gentle, compassionate form of discipline, which is the most sustainable kind. It is a discipline born from a place of deep self-respect, not self-coercion. So, as you move through this week, pay close attention to the voice of resistance. See it not as an enemy, but as a teacher. It is showing you exactly where your edge is. It is showing you the boundary between your comfort zone and your growth zone. The practice is to calmly and deliberately place one foot over that line every single day. The shocking truth is not what happens to your body after 7 days. The shocking truth is the realization of the immense strength, resilience, and power that you build inside yourself, one disciplined, conscious, and fiery moment at a time. This strength was always there. The practice does not create it, it simply reveals it. Mindful presence. What have we really been discussing? We have used a simple clove of garlic as a focal point, but the true subject has always been presence. The practice is a tool, a very effective one, for cultivating a state of mindful awareness. This is a state in which you are fully conscious of the present moment, without judgment. Let us break this down. Being conscious of the present moment means that your attention is not lost in the past, in regrets, memories, or stories. It is not lost in the future, in worries, plans, or fantasies. Your attention is right here, right now, with the raw data of your sensory experience, the taste on your tongue, the feeling of the breath in your lungs, the sounds in the room. This is where life is actually happening. The past and future are only concepts in the mind. The only reality is now. To be present is to be alive. To be lost in thought is to be living in a dream. The intensity of the clove is a powerful alarm clock that wakes you up from this dream. The second part is without judgment. This is perhaps the more difficult part of the practice. As the intense sensation floods your awareness, the mind immediately wants to judge it. This is horrible. This is too strong. I can't stand this. These are not objective truths. They are stories, interpretations, and reactions created by the mind. The practice is to notice these judgments arise without believing them. You see the thought, this is horrible, come into your mind, and you simply observe it as a thought. You don't have to agree with it or fight with it. You just let it be. You gently return your attention to the pure, raw sensation itself. In doing this, you are creating a profound separation between your awareness and your thoughts. You begin to realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the silent, spacious awareness in which the thoughts appear. This is a revolutionary insight. It is the key to inner freedom. When you are no longer a prisoner of your own reactive judgments, you can navigate the challenges of life with a sense of calm and clarity. This training in mindful presence, done for a few moments each day, begins to bleed into the rest of your life. It is not an isolated skill that you only use when you are eating a clove. The quality of attention you cultivate in that moment is a quality of attention you can bring to any moment. When you are drinking a cup of tea, you can learn to be fully present with the warmth of the cup, the aroma of the steam, the flavor on your tongue. When you are talking with a loved one, you can be fully present with their words, their tone of voice, their presence, instead of just planning what you are going to say next. When you are walking, you can feel the contact of your feet on the ground and the movement of the air on your skin. Life itself becomes the meditation. The artificial separation between practice time and the rest of life begins to dissolve. Every moment becomes an opportunity to be awake, to be present, to be truly alive. The small, intense practice with the clove is the concentrated training session that prepares you for the marathon of daily living. So you see, it was never really about the garlic. The garlic is just a finger pointing at the moon. Do not mistake the finger for the moon. The moon is this state of pure, open, non-judgmental awareness. This is our natural state. It has been covered over by layers of conditioning, distraction, and mental noise. The practice is a way of peeling back these layers. The shocking truth is that you do not need to add anything to yourself to find peace or clarity. You do not need a special mantra, a secret technique from the mountains, or even a clove of garlic. All you need is to subtract. You subtract the layers of distraction. You subtract the habit of judgment. You subtract the constant mental chatter. What remains is the stillness, the presence, the quiet joy that has been there all along. The clove is simply a tool that helps you to see this. It is a mirror that reflects your own consciousness back to you. The ultimate goal is to reach a point where you no longer need the mirror, where you can access that state of mindful presence in any moment, in any situation, simply by choosing to. Rooted power. There is a lesson we can draw from the world of nature. Consider a large, ancient tree. What gives it the strength to withstand the wind and the storms? It is not the branches, which can be swayed and even broken. It is the roots. The roots are hidden beneath the surface, unseen, but they provide the stability, the nourishment, and the anchor for the entire structure. A practice, a daily discipline like the one we are exploring, is the act of growing your own roots. Our outer lives are like the branches. They are constantly assailed by the winds of change, by stress, by challenges, by the demands of the world. If we have no roots, if our lives are built only on the surface, we are easily toppled. We feel anxious, unstable, and at the mercy of external circumstances. But when we cultivate a deep inner practice, we are growing roots into the earth of our own being. We are creating a source of stability that does not depend on anything outside of ourselves. This 7-day practice is a root-growing exercise. Each day that you complete the ritual, you are sending a root a little deeper. The first day, the root is shallow. It offers little stability. This is why it is so easy to be knocked off course early on. But by the 7th day, a small but significant root system has begun to form. You start to feel a new kind of inner solidity. It is subtle, but it is real. You might notice that things that used to bother you now seem less significant. You might find that you have more patience, more resilience in the face of adversity. This is the sign that your roots are taking hold. You are drawing nourishment and strength from a deeper place. This is not a strength of aggression or force. It is the quiet, resilient, and enduring power of a tree. It is a power that comes from being deeply grounded, deeply connected to your own core. The discomfort of the practice is also part of this root growing process. Roots do not grow through empty air. They grow by pushing through the resistance of the soil, of rocks and obstacles. It is the struggle against this resistance that makes them strong. In the same way, by willingly facing the small discomfort of the clove each day, you are strengthening your resolve. You are teaching your nervous system that you can handle resistance, that you can persist through difficulty. This is an invaluable lesson. We cannot avoid difficulty in life. The storms will come. The winds will blow. The question is not whether we will face challenges, but how we will meet them. Will we meet them with the fragility of unrooted branches or with the deep, grounded power of a well-rooted tree? The choice is ours, and it is a choice we make in the small, seemingly insignificant moments of our daily lives. Every moment of conscious practice is a moment spent strengthening our foundation. So when you feel the fire of the clove in your mouth, imagine you are feeling the energy of your roots pushing deeper into the earth. When you feel the resistance in your mind, the desire to quit, see it as a rock that your roots must navigate. Welcome it. See it as a necessary part of the process of becoming stronger. This changes your entire relationship with difficulty. It is no longer an enemy to be avoided, but an essential ingredient for growth. This is the profound shift in mindset that the simple practice can create. It shifts you from being a victim of life circumstances to being an active participant in the cultivation of your own inner strength. The rooted power you develop is not just for you. A strong tree provides shelter for others. A grounded and stable person brings a sense of calm and clarity to everyone they interact with. Your inner work becomes a gift to the world. It starts here. It starts now, with one small, intentional, and powerful choice. Subtle shift. What can one realistically expect to happen after only 7 days? It is very important to approach this with realistic expectations. There will be no magical transformation. You will not suddenly levitate or attain enlightenment. The changes are subtle, and this subtlety is, in itself, the most important lesson. Our culture is addicted to the dramatic, the loud, and the instant. We want to see a before and after photo that shows a miraculous change. We want a revolution. But deep, lasting change is almost never a revolution. It is an evolution. It is a process of small, incremental adjustments that, over time, lead to a profound shift in trajectory. The purpose of this 7-day practice is not to arrive at a final destination, but to initiate this subtle shift. It is about turning the rudder of the ship just 1 degree. At first, you will barely notice the change in direction, but over a long voyage, that 1 degree turn will lead you to a completely different continent. During this week, the practice is to learn to perceive the subtle. Instead of looking for a huge change, look for the smallest possible shifts. Perhaps you will notice a moment of silence between your thoughts that you had never noticed before. Perhaps you will taste your lunch with a little more clarity. Perhaps you will respond to a stressful email with a moment's pause instead of an instant reaction. These are the victories. These are the signs that the practice is working. They are quiet, humble, and deeply personal. They will not be visible to others. They are not something you can boast about. They are the secret whispers of your own evolving consciousness. Learning to value these subtle shifts is a radical act in a world that only values the loud and the obvious. It is a retraining of your own value system. You begin to understand that the most meaningful changes in life are often the most quiet. This process cultivates a quality of patience. Real growth takes time. A bamboo tree spends years developing a complex root system underground before it ever breaks the surface. Then it can grow with incredible speed. Our inner work is the same. The 7 days are just the very beginning of building that root system. You may not see dramatic outer growth, but you are doing the essential foundational work. You are tilling the soil, planting the seed, and learning to water it with consistent attention. To demand an instant result is to be like a child who plants a seed and then digs it up every day to see if it is growing. This anxiety and impatience will destroy the very process you are trying to cultivate. The practice then is also a practice in trust. You trust that by showing up each day, by performing this small intentional act, you are setting in motion a natural process of growth. You do your part and you let nature do hers. So, as you reach the end of the 7 days, do not be discouraged if you do not feel like a completely different person. Instead, take a few moments to quietly reflect. Look for the small echoes of the practice in your day. Did you feel a greater connection to your body? Was there a moment of heightened sensory awareness? Was there an instance of choosing a conscious response over an automatic reaction? Acknowledge these small moments. Cherish them. They are the proof that the rudder has shifted. They are the evidence that you have successfully initiated a new trajectory. This is a huge achievement. The shocking truth is that you do not need a shocking experience to change your life. You need a subtle shift, a gentle turning, and the patient discipline to continue walking in that new direction. This is the path of sustainable growth. It is a path of grace, not a path of force. And it is a path that this humble practice has prepared you to walk. The reflection. And so we arrive at the end of our journey together. What have we discovered? We began with a sensational question about eating 2 cloves of garlic, and we end with a deep felt understanding of our own inner world. The truth that was promised is this: the clove was never the medicine. The practice was the medicine. The attention was the medicine. The consistency was the medicine. The small act of facing discomfort was the medicine. The clove was simply the spoon we used to take it. It was the focal point, the teacher, the humble catalyst for a profound inner process. It was a mirror held up to our own nature, reflecting back to us our resistance, our strength, our capacity for presence, and our deep, innate wisdom. It showed us that we do not need to climb a mountain to find a spiritual practice. We can find it in our own kitchen. We can find it in our own breath. We can find it in any moment that we choose to be fully, consciously awake. You now hold an understanding that cannot be taken from you because it was not given to you. You earned it. You earned it through your own direct experience. This is the only knowledge that truly transforms us. You have learned that within the smallest, most mundane actions lie the potential for the greatest growth. You have discovered that you have the power to create a moment of stillness and clarity in the midst of a chaotic day. You have felt the connection between your body and your mind. You have practiced the art of meeting intensity with calm, non-judgmental awareness. You have built a foundation of self-trust by honoring a commitment to yourself. These are not small things. These are the very building blocks of a meaningful, conscious, and resilient life. The journey does not end here. This is not a conclusion. It is a commencement. It is the beginning of a new way of seeing, a new way of being. The question now is not what the clove can do for you. The question is what you will do with this understanding. Will you let it fade away, another piece of interesting information consumed and forgotten, or will you carry the essence of this practice forward? Will you seek out other ways to bring mindful attention into your daily life? Will you continue to find small, manageable ways to challenge your comfort zone and cultivate your inner strength? The tool may change. Perhaps you will move on from the clove to something else, but the principle remains the same. The power to transform your life resides in your ability to be present, to be consistent, and to consciously choose your actions. This power has always been within you. This practice did not give it to you. It simply showed you where it was. The real shocking truth is the profound simplicity of it all. The key to the liberation we seek is not found in some complex, esoteric teaching, but in the heart of our own direct, immediate experience. It is found in the fire on the tongue, the breath in the lungs, the feeling of our feet on the ground. You have now experienced this for yourself. You have touched the source. Never forget the feeling of this inner rootedness, this quiet strength. It is your true home. It is the silent, unshakable core of your being. Carry it with you. Cultivate it daily, and it will become a wellspring of peace and clarity that will nourish you for the rest of your life. I tried this, and on day 3, I nearly quit. The burn was intense, and my mind was telling me how pointless it was, but I remembered the part about welcoming the resistance, so I just stayed with the feeling. And a strange thing happened. It's not about the garlic at all. Around day 5, I noticed I was listening more deeply in conversations. I was tasting my food more. It's like the intensity of the clove recalibrated my senses and my patience. This isn't a health hack, it's a consciousness hack. Thank you for this profound lesson disguised as a clove of garlic.